Welcome to Practical AI. My name is Jeff Northrup. In this series, we try to hit AI from both a technical and non-technical perspective. We try to stay on top of today's relevant AI topics. Now, my producer says that Peter and I talk slowly, so don't be afraid to double the playback speed. Like and subscribe, leave comments and questions, and we in turn will put cool links in the description box. So let's get into it. My name is Jeff Northrup. This is Peter Lynn. Today, our topic is a simple question, and that is, will ChatGPT replace search? Peter, I've got my opinions on searching lately, and I'd love to hear just kind of your perspective on this. So at a high level, first of all, do you think ChatGPT will replace search? And then, let's get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of what's actually happening underneath the cover there.
Sure. So no one knows the answer, but my best guess is no. ChatGPT won't replace search as a technology in general.
Okay. And maybe before we get into the why, what's different between the two? Either in images or in text searches or whatever. What's the fundamental difference in how the problem is solved?
Well, historically, search kind of falls into a few different categories. So the easiest way that I think about it is, let's say you're searching for a new blanket. And you go up to Target or Amazon and you type in, I want a blanket that's this size for a king size bed or a queen size bed. I want it to be this color. I want it to be made from this fabric, right? And so when you go to Target to search, it's easy to find it because they've done the work of identifying the category. It's a blanket, the material, the size, all that stuff. And that's very efficient for a computer to do. In contrast, a language model takes months to train, and it eventually learns what a king size is versus a full size. It eventually learns that a down is different than polyfill. It eventually learns what regular cotton is versus fleece. And so it eventually learns all these things. And then if you ask it, hey, what kind of blankets are good for wintertime? It can tell you. Maybe a fleece or maybe a weighted blanket, and maybe one that's like, this density or whatever. Like maybe you want a full blanket and not like a quilt, which is much lighter.
So is the search feature in like Target's website or Amazon or whatever, they have much less from an inventory perspective to have to categorize, right? And plus they don't provide every service or provide every product. So like I'm not sure I could get like a farm implement from Target, and I probably also can't get great sushi.
Right.
So there is a limit there, but is Target still solving the problem differently than ChatGPT would in terms of how they get that information?
Yep. So for example, on Amazon, if you want to see, is this product good, you look at the rating, right? If it's 1 star, okay, it's probably not what I want. If it's 5-star, you look, okay, how many of the ratings were 5-star? And so what I do, I look like, okay, if there's 10,000 reviews and most of them are 5-star, that's a pretty good chance. But it's only got 3 reviews and they're all 5 stars, then it's like, okay, well, 3 reviews are all 5 stars. They're probably fake.
Yeah, you're applying human intelligence to this,
Yeah.
natural problem that we all face, right?
Yeah, and so in that sense, when Amazon or Target tries to create indexes for searching for products, it's much easier. They don't have to do any machine language processing, right? You could use a language model to parse all the reviews, all the comments on that product and give it a rating. but it's much easier to ask people, was this rating good or not? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And you can tell, okay, this person said it was a 4, and they've reviewed 1,000 things, and they're like, on Amazon, there's a little like percentage like, oh, people found 80% of this person's review to be good. So, okay, this person is more trustworthy than someone that's reviewed 3 products and people gave their ratings low. So in that sense, it's much easier, much faster from a programming perspective to index that data versus trying to take all the reviews for that product, feed it to a language model, and then have it come up with a fuzzy evaluation of that particular product. The other downside is products are usually phased out every year or two. So if it takes you 6 months to 8 months to train a language model, well, that's too slow.
Okay. So back to the original question, will ChatGPT replace search? For the novice, most of us weren't thinking of whether or not ChatGPT would solve search or replace search with Target. But what about in my internet searches?
So internet searches, it depends on what you're searching for. If your question is, like what caused the 100 Years' War, you'll get a much better result through a language model like ChatGPT than if you punch it into Google, because Google will return you a bunch of results. And it used to be that it would give you great results, but because of search engine optimization people, SEO people, a lot of the results are just terrible now.
You
So
mean
this is
because, yeah, website developers and people that want their stuff to be promoted higher or seen by the algorithm have figured out how to manipulate their SEO, their tags, their hashtags, or whatever, in order to get higher placement.
Yeah, and so that's that constant battle of like people that want to game the search, people that want good results, and then Google in between. Like we keep tweaking it to fight against the SEO people, but it's a losing battle. Like when Amazon's product search got really good, they saw a huge drop in product searches on Google because it's just easier to just go to Amazon or just go to Target. You know, there was no benefit to going to Google first because you would get like a lot of junk results.
Okay, so we've got sort of a split answer here. Will ChatGPT replace search? In one sense, no. In another sense, yes, with maybe a, caveats or whatever. What's the future bring, and where are the battle lines going to be drawn? It sounds a little bit like contained corporate search or something like that. No, but in the wild, maybe yes. What's your thought if we sort of generalized and just said, is that safe to say in the internet searches, ChatGPT will replace Google? Or is that too broad?
I think for some things, ChatGPT does give you much better results. Originally, when Google started, the model was organize the world's information. And in the beginning, they did pretty good. I mean, they indexed the internet, they actually scanned all the books in the Library of Congress. And they also scanned a bunch of out-of-date books and made it available through their website. But over time, people have gamed the system. It's not going to be static. So I think in the future, people will take advantage of both, and they'll have to. Where if you want to get better results, and it makes sense to analyze your data through a language model, you can do that, and then that kind of complements your regular search indexing, so that you get the combination of both. And then in theory, it makes it harder for someone to game the system.
Why is image searching worse now than it was before the AI craze?
So part of that is Google and OpenAI and Microsoft, now they're adding in image data to the training data. And so basically what they do is if you post pictures on Google's photo app or on Microsoft, people will tag the photo sometimes with like it's at the beach, or it's at a birthday party, or Chuck E. Cheese's, or Pizza Hut, or whatever. And so now they're training the data with some images and the metadata tagging that people have provided. And so now they're relating images and audio and text together. And being that this is the first time that they're training the models to do this, right now it's still kind of rough, but as they get more data and improve the data, the image searches will get better and better.
So before they were just training off of the hashtags, the metadata, or not
Yeah.
training, they were searching off of that, sorry, and maybe even training with original search for images. But you're saying now that they've gotten to that point, they're adding as part of the training data actual images, and that is noise in the system that's just not good yet. It's beginner level or intermediate level.
Yeah, so if we go back to DALL-E from OpenAI, that's an image model that generates stuff based on prompt. And so they train the image model separately from the language model, and then they connect the two together. So now the next step is you train both of them together. And so now we're in the second step of, instead of having two models, an image model and a language model, and you connect them, they're trying to train one model with both together in the hopes that that gives you better results. And as they ramp up the data sets, it gets better.
And then Peter, one of the things that I think some of us are anticipating is that in the future, there will be a time where it's not necessarily a competition between classic search and AI, but also AI will start to generate images, will start to generate text or responses, maybe like the lawyer case that we covered several episodes ago. Is that a part of the AI solution in the future, or is that a glitch in the system that has to be addressed?
So it's going to happen. The open question right now in research is, if you take generated data and feed it back into the language model or into AI model, does that produce the correct data distribution that you want? Meaning, will it be able to handle stuff that's never seen? And some people think yes, because it all depends on how random you generate. So if you generate stuff that's really, really random, you might cover things that a human would never do, versus humans tend to do things within a certain kind of boundary based on kind of human experience. Whereas an AI could generate things that a human would never think of. So the example for that would be AlphaGo. When it got to a certain point where it just randomly played itself, it created games that a human would have never thought of.
Mm.
And the Korean grandmaster, when he played AlphaGo, a lot of the reviewers realized, like, oh, AlphaGo is doing things that a human has never done before in the history of the game. And so now a lot of people are now learning from AlphaGo, because now they're like, oh, wait a minute, like I could come up with these new strategies that no one's ever thought of, but AlphaGo is doing it.
Mm.
And so now people have gotten really good at beating AlphaGo, because they figured out kind of how AlphaGo automatic training works. And they've realized, like, oh, here's some blind spots for AlphaGo.
Well, that works great for game, strategy, but if I am searching the internet for show me a picture of Donald Trump sacrificing a baby to Molech, and then all of a sudden it creates that image, right? That's probably outside of the boundaries of what we were hoping for from an AI search perspective, right? Unless creativity or creating is part of search.
Yeah, so that's again, so it's an open question. In the case of corporate products like Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI, they're going to limit that, where like Midjourney allow people to do image generation of political figures, and then they turn it off. So now you can't. Like if you put in a prompt Kim Jong-un doing something,
Yeah.
it won't generate it because that name is blocked. Or if you say Putin doing so and so, like that's
Yeah.
blocked. So now they've blocked every political figure from generative AI, where like you can't generate images for anyone that's in the list.
Yeah. I saw a brilliant one from, I think it was Midjourney, of Pope Francis running from police officers.
Yeah, there's also one of him like wearing a nice ski outfit.
I mean, it looks so real. It's amazing. All right. Well, so let's ask the question one more time. We'll finish this up. Will ChatGPT replace search? And if so, how, when, and where?
I think it won't, but it'll become just part of the search experience.
Okay. Peter, thanks for giving us a little bit of deep dive into the AI space, and I think this is a relevant topic. For those that are interested, please review some of our older ones, in particular the alignment episode we had. I think that's episode 4. And then we've had some fun ones dealing with Shawshank Redemption, and we even had one on what was our first? Seinfeld, right? Seinfeld's chat. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will come meet again soon. Take care.